Since we last talked about this story of the new trophy wife, a lot of information has came out on the internet and a lot of information has disappeared. Isis, aka the new trophy wife, has deleted all of the videos on her YouTube channel except for one, which is the video labeled I Married a Monster. Not only that, live streams have been deleted and also community posts. And I want to first say I am glad that some of the community posts were deleted because they involved pictures of Isis's children, which were shown in the last video I did. And I do not want to talk about hearsay or he said, she said that is currently on the internet about who did what to the children. I know a lot of people have been asking, has the husband been arrested? Has he been convicted? As it stands right now, the husband has not been arrested and he has not been found guilty of any of the things that have been claimed against him online. Let's just focus on what we do see and what we do know. And that's why I would like to focus my attention on some of the interesting posts that Isis has made. I noticed a theme, and I'm not sure that I like what I see as it relates to money. First, let's talk about this post that is now deleted from YouTube. Isis said, "I'm so tired of misinformation. My daughters are his biological children. This could have happened to anyone. Also, I knew this man for a 6-month period before I became his wife. Yes, I ran a background check. I'm not stupid enough to date online without one. He had no prior charges other than some speeding tickets. I saw every speeding he ever had before I agreed to go on a first date. My dating profile said I had no children. I never married for money. I married because he pretended to have all of the same values as me. I married to build a strong family on a solid foundation. He never showed me signs of being a PDF foul. But yes, I'll take the blame. There's also another content creator who has 2 daughters by her husband, their biological father. Would she also be a dumb pig Misha if her husband did the same to their daughters? Shame on you, shame on you." As you continue to watch this video, please try to remove your emotional thinking cap as we discuss some of these topics. Perhaps it will make a lot more sense and then you won't be angry with what I show you. Please also understand when I speak as somebody who has experienced harm as well when I was a child from 8 to 12. So my perspective on this may be different than yours. And that is okay. Isis said, "I never married for money. I married because he pretended to have all the same values as me." On August 11th, 2024, there was a podcast introduction posted on Spotify. And this was named the Trophy Wife Podcast. And I would like you all to simply listen to what she explains the podcast will be about.
Hello, trophies. Welcome to the Trophy Wife Podcast. I am so excited to have you here. We are going to be talking about dating, relationships, hypergamy, how to find men with money.
Isis says plainly in her podcast introduction, she is trying to show women how to find men with money. Now, in her deleted YouTube videos, she also outlined that she used to date men from the hood pretty much.
Was dating thugs and, living in some kind of secular lifestyle. I had to become the kind of woman that a man would want to take around his colleagues and his mother and be the woman that's adding value to him just by standing next to him. My mom drilled into me, oh, go with the man that's going to be the best breeder. And I think society drilled into me to go after the thug, the street dude, the swag type dude, or whatever you want to call it. I had my first child when I was 17 years old. I intentionally got pregnant with my boyfriend at the time and basically turned into a child raising a child. A few years later, had my second child. So after having 2 children and being a single mom, I think that my self-esteem was definitely low. I didn't know that at the time, but if I think back about the kind of men that I was choosing, it definitely was a reflection of my lower self-esteem.
She had 2 children, and then the last video, she told what type of men those children's fathers were allegedly. She ended up stating that she
wanted a family. I wanted more for myself. It felt so lonely and it was sad. It was really sad. It was, I'd say, one of the lowest points in my life, and I realized that I don't want to do this on my own. I don't want to raise these boys on my own. I want a family. I want someone that I can love, someone that loves me and my children. And after that was when I decided that I was going to change the kind of men I was dating and what I was attracting.
And she then was listening to Kevin Samuels and SheraSeven, allegedly. From SheraSeven herself, she said these were not her teachings.
You said somebody got married after 1 week. Did they need a green card, ma'am? Were they about to get kicked out the country or something? I don't see no reason to marry somebody after only knowing somebody a week. That's not smart. If you're desperate, don't claim me. You didn't learn from me. Sprinkle, sprinkle.
SheraSeven, her teachings changed my life. And I would not be where I am today without her teachings. When I listened to Kevin Samuels, I learned a lot about the way women see relationships and the way that men see relationships. He had me, making sure that I'm keeping my body together.
And Kevin Samuels, as many of you know, has passed away. Also, please keep in mind, during my first video, before she deleted all of the YouTube videos, I showed you all that her whole coaching was about how to get a rich man.
We are going to be talking about what I wish I knew before dating rich men.
When somebody tells you that they were dating men from the hood and then they wanted to level up, they wanted to have more for themselves, and they start chasing a certain type of man, what that tells me personally is I'm going from men who can't really give me things and provide the lifestyle I want to a man who can. She even went as far as to telling women to not be honest about the sort of job that they had in order to not seem like a loser to the men that have more resources. This was all in the first video. Reading between the lines, why would a woman try to hide who she is to a certain caliber of man? It is because she wants that man because he has resources. Hello. Additionally, in the first video, we cannot forget that she was house hopping from one man's house to another. She stated in that video that there was another man that was providing for her, and she felt guilted into being his girlfriend, and she moved into his house and had a lease with this man, allegedly. But it wasn't until she realized that her ex-boyfriend and her son weren't really meshing well together for whatever reason that she ended up having to end that relationship. And when she was leaving that relationship, she did not go get a place of her own. She got in contact somehow, some way with her now husband. She did not provide safety by herself for her children once that relationship ended. She immediately, within a week or two, was in another man's house, and she had 2 sons. Mind you, she already went on a date with her husband previous to her living with this other man. She had her husband still in her pocket, essentially. And then when things fell through with this guy that she was with, she ended up getting with her husband. Now, some of y'all may call this the fall guy, but she ended up getting with him and moving in her 2 sons. That is already a problem as a single mother. And the lifestyle she was selling online is that of a hypergamous woman, which is essentially what she was doing when I gave the literal definition in the first video. She left one man who had resources and immediately got with another one. And we have to ask ourselves, is that a logical thing for a mother to do? Or is that something a mother would do if she is under financial distress and in survival mode? Again, she says here, I never married for money. I married because he pretended to have all the same values as me. Miss Isis went from her last relationship to her proposing to her husband, not the other way around. She ended up leaving a relationship, proposed to this man who she just so happened to think was a Prince Charming with resources. And at the time, she had 2 children that, in my opinion, if she was able to financially provide, she would not have been using her limited resources to buy a ring for a man that she just got back in contact with. Because mind you, she said she was on FaceTime with him and she never even seen him face to face. So when Isis says, I knew this man for a 6-month period before she became his wife, she's not telling the fact that she was living with another man. We covered that in my last video. So when Isis is saying, I knew him for 6 months, that may be true, but she was not with him for 6 months. She was with someone else. Then she proposed to him. So are you telling me she did not marry him for money? She didn't have a place to stay. And this is something that people do whenever they are in survival mode. She went and got the ring because her husband at the time said, hey, you're not moving in this house unless we're married. So what did she do? She was down for the cause. Why? Because she didn't have shelter. Because Her lease just ended with her ex. Y'all have to use your common sense. No woman in their right mind with 2 children is going to just go propose to a man that they have not been in contact with or have briefly been in contact with unless they're in survival mode. And if y'all need it spelled out, what exactly made her be in survival mode? It was the fact she did not have shelter for her and her children. It's quite simple. And I want to point this out because I think a lot of women don't know when they're in survival mode. They just don't even know when it happens. When you cannot keep your lights on, when you cannot provide shelter, food, water, transportation for you, especially if you have children, you and your children. If you tell people this information without knowing their intention, you've already told them you are in a bind. They already know what some people may do when they're in a bind. They may not know if you will do things or what you will do if you're in a bind. When you do that and you don't think that they're going to leverage the situation somehow, some way, you're not very self-aware. And what this ends up telling me is Miss Isis is not self-aware of how she's being perceived. If somebody wanted to leverage you, all they would have to say is, well, if you want to move in my house, you got to give me something. Either give me something or commit. And that's what he said. He essentially said, commit to me, be my wife. And because she's in survival mode, and at the time she thought it was like cute because she was snickering about it in the video, she did what he wanted. Now, the other alarming comment is that she says there's also another content creator who has 2 children by her husband, their biological father. Would she also be a dumb pick Misha if her husband did the same to their children? Shame on you, shame on you. I believe she's talking about the woman who she said mentored her. Because when I looked, she just so happened to have 2 daughters by her husband. And I'm like, okay, and you already have seen her name and again, Kevin Samuel's names brought up many times in this story. I don't know who called her a dumb pick Misha, but I am saying if you replace Isis and anybody in your family, any of your friends that you know, if they would have done this, even yourself, if you put yourself in that situation, would you honestly say that you were trying to get picked? If you went out knowing you have 2 children and no place to stay, you just got out of a house of another man that had money, just to immediately propose to another man that got money, and you got 2 kids to be focusing on and you can't even provide for yourself. If I did that and I had 2 children, the evidence shows that I was not set up. So I put my children in a situation. I'm not saying that anything happened to her sons, but what I am saying is you can't know and really vet somebody when you just got out the house of another man and you're in this man's house now. That don't make sense. And that is why a lot of people had a problem with this. And a lot of people who don't see a problem with this, maybe you're in survival mode. Maybe you don't understand something like that is dangerous to do. Maybe you don't understand that leaving one man's house and immediately going to another man's house is a little bit odd, especially when you have 2 children. Maybe you have to think, my children probably know I just left this man's house and now I got to get comfortable with another man. Maybe this might have effects on them. Maybe that's a little weird. So I won't call anyone names, but I'll for sure say that action does not show me somebody who is not looking for a man to provide and take care of them specifically. Because at this point, if you had a good job or if you had money saved, you could have put you and your kids somewhere that was safe and you wouldn't be looking around to see who can do it for you. Which also means you probably wouldn't have been rushing to go get a ring for a man that you just got back with because you just got out of a relationship, but your rent was up. What I have seen with this ISIS situation and the women online, it almost seems like to me that the whole house has to fall apart and everything has to crash and burn in order for some women to understand how dangerous doing things like this is, for there to be a level of accountability. And I'm not quite understanding it. And it's almost like if you say, hey, to other women, because ISIS is going to do what she does, and she did what she did. And I still wish the best for ISIS. As the story ended up going on, when certain harm was being done to Isis herself the first 4 months of her being with her husband, and she says in her video that she just thought she could get through it for some reason, we just gloss over that. What is the reason why she thought she could get through it? Is it possibly because she was blinded by money? Is it because she was so after the lifestyle of being a trophy wife that when the signs were right in front of her, she ignored it? even though she had children? Are we supposed to just gloss over that and then be called victim blamers when we point it out? Y'all are not being honest. Now, I know that everybody is upset about what happened to Isis, allegedly, and her children. But what I will say, as somebody who has went through something similar when I was 8 to 12, there is a dollar sign on this story. And y'all aren't talking about that. Y'all are just like, y'all are victim shaming. Whoever did whatever to the children or however it happened is sad. It's plain sad. And right now, we don't really even know what the heck is going on because there's so many conflicting stories on that. But what I do know is if anything did happen to those children, that's horrible. But two things can be true at once. You can be ignoring red flags that end up over time putting you and your children in a bad situation. Because when we talk about the things that she said occurred 4 times within the first 4 months of her marriage, do any of y'all ask yourself, where were her daughters during that time? Because she said her daughters are 2 and 4. So if her daughters are 2 and 4 and certain things occurred within the first 4 months of her being married, that means they weren't here yet. They were not conceived. So what that is telling me is I ignored some red flags. I proceeded to procreate with this man, even though I had 2 sons and I was a victim allegedly of these horrendous things. But I made not just 2, she made 3 children with this man because she has 5. She has 2 children before him and she had 3 children with him, 2 daughters allegedly and a son. So she had 3 kids with this man. Knowing that information, and whenever the story is told, y'all want people to glisten past the fact that this information was already known to her and then say, people are victim shaming by pointing it out. This is not victim shaming. It's talking about something that is uncomfortable. And I get that it's uncomfortable to talk about because emotions are high. She has experienced something allegedly, and so have her children. So my thing with it is, if we're talking about red flags and who the protector in the situation is, it is the mother. And the reason why it's hard to sit here and be like, oh my God, just don't say nothing about what she did is because she knew certain things and then allowed these children to come into the world with somebody she felt wasn't a good person to procreate with. That is also, again, odd behavior. Yes, it may have been a mistake. Yes, she may have thought she could overcome it. But what it still is, no matter how y'all feel about it, is odd behavior. And it probably wouldn't be questioned as much if people didn't know that she was chasing the trophy wife lifestyle and trying to get with a high value man or a provider man. And if also we didn't know that she was willing to get online to lie to women about the type of lifestyle she was living in order to profit off of you all, to profit off of the fact that you all did not know she was not living that life, that she was being phony, that she was being fake, and she was willing to do it in order to keep up an image, in order to make money off of it, because SheraSeven did it. In my opinion, she was trying to be very similar to her mentor. The fact, for one, that she's being mentioned so much by this lady already let you know. But then she was doing coaching calls. She had a book. She was charging people to give advice. She had a book. She had a podcast. I don't think the podcast ever took off. But she was online giving advice on YouTube and TikTok. And I just told y'all the dates. When I was reviewing her content on her channel before she deleted everything, even 8 months ago, she was posting content about her husband being this great man. And do y'all know that they have been fighting cases against each other with restraining orders and all of that stuff the whole time? The whole time she was behind the camera selling to you this illusion, quite literally selling this illusion to young women. And she had cases against her husband for DV where there were restraining orders going back and forth between both of them. They were putting orders on each other. It was odd. And meanwhile, she's getting on coaching calls. And you have to ask, why would somebody do that? If they're in a relationship with this sort of man, why are they online telling you that their life is so great and you need to take tips from them on how to get a rich man, how to get all this, acting as though she was a certain type of woman, almost as though she was better than everybody?
And to be honest, I really don't care who doesn't agree, because at the end of the day, I really don't have to be doing this. I don't have to work. I'm still, whether you like me or not, I'm still going to be rocking Chanel and driving a Porsche. So
And meanwhile, when everything came out, the facade was exposed. And then the damage control happened. Now you have to ask, why did Miss Isis take down all of her videos? Let's talk about it. Isis said, if I need to be bullied, lied on, discredited, and whatever else to bring awareness and put attention on this man's crimes, then so be it. All those calling me a liar will eat their words. Sick to see those who have so much negative things to say about me and barely anything to say about the monster who has committed these acts against his own children. This is why victims stay silent and the cycle continues and continues. The criminal investigation on my husband began from the time I was in the hospital. I tried to press criminal charges the same time I filed the protective order against him, but I was told I couldn't because the state must do it. Unfortunately, these situations are more common than you think. Because of this, the state is working through many cases in order to get to mine. In these cases, at least in my state, women cannot just press charges for SA. I believe this is unfortunate because women may not have always been truthful in these situations. However, in this case, it's all very true. It's crazy that monsters like this can walk free for weeks, months, even years sometimes before charges or convictions. I can't wrap my head around it. The system must change. I've done everything I can, and all that I had left was my YouTube audience. This is the same YouTube audience Isis was lying and selling dreams to. Let's be honest. As sad as the situation is, the same audience that you were finessing and fleecing of their money. When people understand that they have been finessed, they have been lied to by somebody, and for what? Financial gain? Because I don't know why else Isis was online portraying this lifestyle like she was somebody else that she wasn't, besides for money and for profit. And because of this, I think the empathy that Isis was looking for wasn't well received or put out by people who watched her content, because I think they understood that this lady is not as honest as she appears to be. And that's just the sad reality of the situation. It's not saying that they don't feel for her and what she may have gone through or her children. It's just when you get online telling lies, actual lies, to get money from people, and you are getting money from people, when you set up that GoFundMe account and you start trying to get more money from them, it's going to be like, why? Didn't you just tell us we was dusty?
Fourth sign you're dating a dusty is he is your same age. Like, oh, I could never date an older man. I can never date a man that doesn't have any swag. Why are you here? Why are you here? You are not ready. You are not going to get this lifestyle because you don't deserve it. Ladies, let's talk about 5 reasons why you can't attract a high value man. First reason is you look like a hoe. Don't get caught looking dry, okay? Because if I catch you looking dry, -5 points. No, minus 20 points if you're looking ashy. You don't deserve to be a trophy if you're looking ashy, okay? Men pay attention to these things. Another thing I noticed, women, if you have arm hair, look at your arms right now. If there's hair on your arms, shave it off. Go upstairs and shave it off, because that's looking real masculine. It's looking real crazy. Shave that arm hair off, please.
Didn't you just tell us you gonna rock a Chanel? Didn't you just tell us all these different things? I'm not saying that's how I looked at it. I just think that's how a lot of people looked at it based on the comments. And again, I hope that the young children get justice for what was done to them. But I think the attacks that ISIS is probably wanting from the public have not come because there has not been any convictions. This man has not been found guilty. That is also a fact. And to be honest, people have to go off of what information that they have as fact. The only thing that we have as fact right now is that ISIS has been on this campaign of putting out these posts, and that is what people are talking about. We're only going off of the information that she has put out. From what I understand, the husband has not said anything, and he also is walking around a free man. ISIS must remember she put all this out to the world, and it's almost like she wants there to be a court of public opinion before the facts of the actual case, if there is a case, are closed, and then people can see the facts for what they really are. If ISIS had came on the internet and not told lies to people, I don't think there would be nearly as much pushback that she's getting. But so when people started looking at her content and the things and the contradictions, people said, wait a minute. And in my opinion, I think when ISIS realized that she was being questioned on the things that were going on or what she was saying, she went into defense mode in trying to protect her image. But let's continue with the post. She says, for all those who pretend that I knew this was happening is completely untrue and the sickest assumption I've heard thus far. I can't believe this is what you all have come up with. Again, ISIS is worried about what the people are saying. If you can call me on a Saturday today, you will hear the same ruckus in the background because that is what it sounds like with 5 kids in the home. I deleted my videos because I'm tired of being blamed for my daughter's A word. Yet the PDF gets off easy. ISIS has admitted she only took down the videos because she was under the fire. Now I'm going to say something about that statement right there that I know a lot of you all probably haven't considered. So I would like you to open up your mind. Why did ISIS say she deleted the videos because she was tired of being blamed for the A word of her daughter, right? But she left up the very video where she exposed her own daughter herself on the YouTube channel and took off everything else. Now stay with me here, y'all. The other videos that ISIS had on there made her look like a walking contradiction. She deleted all of those videos, all of those posts. Yet and still, the one video that is detailing the horrific things done to her own daughter is on there. And she said she don't want to be blamed. So what that tells me is, I think the way ISIS was being perceived is not the way ISIS wanted to be perceived. She was being perceived by some as a gold digger. She was being perceived as some as a woman that was just after a rich man. And her own words were being used as evidence that that is what she was looking for. And she did not like that. So she deleted those videos because they don't make her look good. They make her look like somebody that was money hungry, somebody that was ignoring red flags to be with the man. Now, she didn't mind getting rid of the videos that made her look bad, but the videos that expose her daughter's personal experience, whoever did what to her daughter, that experience is on the internet, still posted as the only video on ISIS's page. Now, if y'all don't think that's strange, I don't know what to tell you. So you delete all the videos that make you look bad, that make you look like a woman who is money hungry, thirsty for a man, for the same man that you are saying did all these things to you and your child. You delete all those videos. The same videos where you was lying to people, finessing them, taking their money, getting the ad revenue for all of these fake stories that you were putting out about this lifestyle that you weren't living. You took those videos off and left up the most personal, horrendous, like just disturbing video describing your daughter's experience. You said, no, this is the one. This is the one I'm going to leave up. Me looking silly and me telling these women lies, nah, they can't see that. I'm going to leave up the video where I'm telling my daughter's story, and this is the one. This is going to be the one. That's wild to me. That's wild to me because I feel like she wanted to control the perception and the narrative of who she was that bad that she deleted every single video except that one. And it's telling me, do you even care about the child? Because you can't put yourself in somebody else's shoes. But I can. If my mom, if I ever found out, and I said this in the last video, if I ever found out my mother sat up here and was coaching women, fleecing them, taking their money, giving them this illusion, all behind the scenes, she was allegedly being A-worded. She was fighting cases with restraining orders and DV involved. And all the while, she was setting up a camera and a mic and a Rode mic and getting her makeup right with the family picture right in the back on the fireplace. And she was sitting up there telling women, yeah, this is how you get the type of man I got like my husband, putting out the perception that everything is fine for money. That's why it's being done, y'all. Money, business, money and business, profit. And to say she was living this sort of life because she's been watching it online, just for my mom, when stuff hit the fan, to delete all of those videos and then sit in front of a bed with a Rode mic set up and cry and tell my story. Now, it's one thing if you tell your story, but the minute she told the daughter's story, no, I don't care what none of y'all airheads say. Why would a mother hook up a mic, tell their daughter's deepest, darkest secret that they don't even know is their deepest, darkest secret yet? Because They're too young to understand. But who knows what is what? The mom. And she sat up there, told them kids business, set them up so everybody in the world can know their story. And whether those kids wanted to be the one to out their story or not, that should have been their choice. But the mom being so thirsty for money did it. Y'all got me messed up. Y'all got me messed up. If you think for 1 second, I'm about to sit here and say, that was okay. She needed money. There are women in the comment section of that very video who are saying she needed money. What else was she going to do? I don't know. Maybe get a job. Go Uber. Go DoorDash. Go do something. Don't go look for another man. Go make an honest living. But you know what I think? I don't think she wanted to do that. So instead, she said, all I got left is my YouTube. She said all she had left was her YouTube, right? That was her last defense mechanism. So she hopped on and told the story, this tragic story of her and her children, allegedly. Got the views, because some of y'all are dense. Let me tell you some more stuff. Every 1,000 views on YouTube is worth a certain amount of money. She had 2 million views on that video. I don't know how much money she made because it depends. She could have made $15 per 1,000 views. She could have made 20. She could have made 50, 6. I don't know. She could have made 8. But my point here is it was something monetary behind this story. And it's essentially to me like saying this story and your daughter's pain, it got a price tag on it. And it seemed to me she was willing to tell the story to get money. Let me tell you something else. She deleted all the other videos that incriminate her and make her look bad. But if she really wanted money, she should have left it up because we was watching the videos. We were watching for other reasons because we're seeing who she really was and who she was portraying herself to be at least. And people were calling it out. Now, if she really wanted some money, she should have left that up because we were watching it. I was like, but you know why she deleted it? Because the perception ain't what she wanted to be because she's probably about to be in a court case, in my opinion. So you can't have videos circulating of you fleecing the women, showing that you're a liar, showing that you have been found out, showing that you were money hungry and the things that you did, the red flags you ignored when you had just your 2 kids. You can't show that. I don't believe for 1 second that Isis didn't know what she was doing by taking all them videos down. I think she knew if new people came to that video and seen that she had a GoFundMe link in this very sad story, that they would be more likely to donate money to her lawyer fees. But with all the other things she had on her channel before that, it was a little iffy. So she had to do damage control because you can't be talking all this stuff and then be asking for money at the same time. It just don't go in hand with a lot of people's beliefs. So in my opinion, she had to pick and she went with the sympathy play instead of leaving all the content up so she could end up running that ad revenue through YouTube. And she said she took all of it down because she's tired of getting blamed, but I think it was really messing up the perception and messing up the play that she was trying to run, which is to get that money for that donation. You take all of that off and decide, I know what's going to get them. This story paired with a GoFundMe, and they're gonna feel so emotional, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, the kids!" And yes, horrible that this happened to the kids. But what that does is it pulls on heartstrings, and it makes people say, "Oh my gosh, so horrific! That man is horrible." And I'm not saying if he did this that he is not, because I am a survivor of something similar in my life. But what I am saying is, telling this story was put out in the public for profit. All of y'all in the comments saying she did this to spread awareness, y'all are slow. This was not about awareness, and I'm going to show you why this was not about awareness. I know a lot of y'all are dense. You just believe, oh, she was doing to spread awareness. What mother? Y'all put some of y'all moms put on your mom hat. Stop being emotional. Put on your mom hat. You mean to tell me this is a good mother hopping online and displaying the most egregious, sensitive, gruesome detail of a story that has allegedly happened to your daughters and putting it out before they can even count to 5? Y'all think that makes sense? And then saying it's awareness? Where's the awareness of when your kids are growing up and their stories have been plastered all over the internet and people are now scouting them out because they think that they're vulnerable kids or they know what type of lifestyle they're coming from because you don't put everything out there allegedly. And y'all are talking about this is why victims don't share their stories. These victims are under 18. Are some of y'all dumb? Do y'all understand when you're a victim and you're a child, your name is not going to be plastered out to the public. I know it's not plastered out to the public. When you turn 18 and you decide to share your story, that is on you. That's how it should work. But for your own mother to do it and y'all dense, dumb, like, oh, y'all should just feel bad and feel empathy, sympathy for them. Y'all are dumb. Y'all don't care about kids. But what I do know is we wouldn't know none of this if this mother hadn't got on the internet and told all of us when we were just going through life, cooking our little eggs, vacuuming the house, like walking our dog. She got on the internet and told the world what was going on with her kids. But let me tell you why I think. Thank you immensely to those who have donated to the GoFundMe. I can now afford to hire a lawyer to fight my husband in court, whom is trying to get custody of his victims. If I hadn't made that video, I would still be in the same powerless position, trying to fight a man whom has much more resources than I do, which is a scary place to be. Please stop being so insensitive. Jesus will have the final say. Now, I want y'all to think critically with me here. She said custody battle. If he is found guilty, won't he go to jail? Won't he be on the PDF list? She said custody. What custody, ma'am? Because if he's guilty, he won't be around yo kid or no kids. Hello. Perhaps there's a trial that might happen later or something like that, because she did say that was something that's ongoing. But in the meantime, perhaps she's trying to get custody. What's upsetting? When she set up the GoFundMe, this is what it said. Hi, thank you for even clicking this link. Please donate if you can. A little from everyone can go a long way for my babies. Thank you for your support during this difficult time. God's not done yet. Isis never said that the GoFundMe is to fight her husband in a custody battle. A lot of people probably donated thinking, I'm donating to house you and your children and get you out the house of this man, like help you with your rent, help you get somewhere safe. I don't know what is going on with ISIS, but what we do know now is that money is going towards a lawyer. And what it also makes me think is perhaps there's a divorce in place, which I could understand. But from what I'm hearing online, allegedly, the husband filed for divorce before all of this happened. Now, that's allegedly. I don't know what is going on. Now, if that is true, and then all of these things came out, that would make this whole situation way worse. And though this whole situation is so bad, the truth will come out. She said if she hadn't had made that video, I would still be in the same powerless position. She is telling y'all that the video came with a price, and the price was the privacy of her children, essentially. Trying to fight a man whom has much more resources than I do. So this lets me know ISIS had the wherewithal to know putting that video out was going to have some sort of monetary value because she's monetized on YouTube. So she said, hey, if I put this video out, I'll be able to get some money to fight him. But I got to put the video out, not get a job. I need to put this video out of my daughter's pain because this video is going to get seen by a lot of people. Now, I just told y'all get a certain amount of money per 1,000 views. This video has over 2 million views. So her next YouTube check is going to look pretty nice. And not only that, y'all have sent GoFundMe money. So not only is she going to get the money from YouTube, from AdSense, she's also going to get money from the GoFundMe. The fact that she has 5 children total, 2 boys by somebody else, and then 3 other children with the man that she's accusing of all these crimes, and she has no resources, just goes to show you how she was depending on this man for the lifestyle that she had. And again, I say, depending on somebody for the lifestyle you live is a bad idea. For one, she already had 2 children with somebody else. So you should have already, in my opinion, been trying to be a stable mother on your own. But when she got with this man, he was the provider man that she was talking about in her videos, the one that would give her everything and spoil her. So she was not thinking about setting herself up for independence in the event that her and her children weren't in the vicinity of this man. And that is a big mistake. And I hope that other women see that and understand how crazy that is. But people should be able to stand on their own 2 feet without another person, especially if you have children. Like I just can't get past thinking that and then getting online, bragging essentially that you're a trophy wife, and then getting on GoFundMe and asking the same people you were bragging to for money. And then for the women that are saying, oh, well, she had to do it. What do y'all expect her to do? Get a job. Why isn't it clicking? Find a way. This Exposing trauma online, this could have been the last resort. I think Isis should have did whatever she had to do to go figure it out for her kids. I don't care. That's her job as the mother. But using your child's trauma for the money, that's where you lost me. If she used her own trauma for money, okay, fine. I would be okay with that. But the children don't even know what's going on. And some of you out there think that that's okay. Y'all are weirdos. Y'all think that it was just fine that she just, oh, my child, like he did this to his child, and then left the child's pictures up after she told the story, and it was up for days. I was looking. I was like, when's she gonna take these pictures down? They were up for days before she started trying to clean stuff up. And I'm glad she took it down. But at the same time, I'm just like, girl, your mind has been on money this whole time. Your mind has been fixated on where am I going to get the cash? And even in this statement here, where she's saying she's able to now get money and she's not in this powerless situation, she's constantly in survival mode, trying to find money, trying to see who's going to give it to her. She went from that one man that she was living with to her husband to the people on YouTube who she said this all she had left was to come to us and ask us. She's just constantly looking for someone to provide what she needs to provide to her children. This is not the way, y'all. Like, y'all mothers out there, this is not the way to do it. You don't sit back and say, my last resort is to tell all of my child's business. Y'all aren't okay if you think that that's normal. That's not. And for all the people agreeing with it, something's wrong with you too. Because if it was you, if you were the child, would you want someone to do that for money? And then get on here and admit, oh, I'm not in a powerless position no more because I sold my children's sorrows online for views and monetary gain for AdSense money to millions of people. Like, hello, y'all are sick if you think that that's normal. There's nothing wrong with people holding her accountable for what she did. Y'all just want everyone online to be a yes man. And the minute that somebody speaks against it, y'all want to say they're victim blaming. This behavior was odd from the jump. And while it's odd, the children did not deserve whoever did this to them. They should not have done that. That's like horrible. And at the same time, she should not have done this because we wouldn't have known. They would have went through the court system, and if he was going to get charged, he would have got charged, and no one would know unless somebody put it out there. But it's crazy for a mother who just so happened to have a thing for money and always is looking around of where she gonna get it from, putting this story out of all people, and then getting upset about the perception online. The internet has never been a safe place for adults. Why would it be a safe place to air out your daughter's trauma? The internet is horrible on adults. I can't get mad when the internet does exactly what the internet has always done. When people talk about it, when people react to it. This is something that ISIS already knew people do. So all of the women that want to get mad that anybody has something to say about what ISIS has done, y'all are living in la la land. You are living in an imaginary world and you are not in reality. And that is a big problem. One thing the internet has showed me throughout this whole trophy wife situation is that there seems to be a thin line. Women who are in bad financial situations, in poverty mindsets, are in danger, especially if they have children. La La Land is a place where things don't go wrong. Everything is rainbows and butterflies. But this is real life where things get uncomfortable, topics get uncomfortable, actions have consequences, there is cause and effect. And we have to stop running from the truth of things and calling things what they're not because it's uncomfortable to hear and you're overly emotional. We have to stop that. When things occur that are detrimental to children, that is specifically where I think a lot of y'all need to start drawing the line and being honest and not label everything in every assessment as victim blaming. Maybe it is critical thinking. This surface level way of thinking where you only address the main issue that you see directly in front of you is very dangerous to a lot of people who could prevent situations that we see online. But a lot of people just take that surface level analysis from people and they run with it. And if you say anything else, you're victim blaming, you're victim shaming. And what's crazy to me is a lot of people like myself that have been giving thought pieces and critical analysis that's not just surface level have been accused of victim blaming when we have been victims ourselves. So a lot of y'all don't even get it. There may have been some motive for the mother in the situation to overlook things because of the lifestyle that she was fighting for and she wanted so badly.